No, I'm talking about for the pale blue dot.
Oh, yeah.
So Voyager 1, the two Voyagers, so Voyager 1 passed Neptune.
Past the orbit of Neptune.
The orbit of Neptune, the last planet in the solar system. And
you will leave it alone.
He's right.
And they turned the camera around.
Yes.
By whose prompting? Tell me about that story.
Okay, so this was just an idea that I had as soon as I was made a team member of the Voyager imaging team, which was right after I got my PhD. So this was like in October of 1983, I went to work for Brad Smith, who was the head of the imaging team.
So you got your PhD, if I remember correctly, from Caltech.
Caltech in May of 1983.
Good school.
So anyway.
Thank you, Eugene, for establishing that Caltech is a good school.
Somebody's gotta
go. So I just thought it would be great to take a picture. Actually, my idea was to take a picture of the solar system because I knew Voyager 1 was not going to encounter any more planets after Saturn. And I had a different idea than Carl, who eventually had also proposed this, but I didn't know about his effort. He didn't know about mine. I thought, wouldn't it be great to show what the solar system would look like to an alien coming in from outside? That's what I wanted to do. Carl, of course...
A family photo of planets.
Yes, and Carl wanted to take a picture of the solar system too, but he really was after that whole, romantic idea of showing the Earth as... He hadn't coined the phrase yet, pale blue dot, but that was his idea. And to show the picture of the Earth awash in a sea of stars, just to emphasize the loneliness, the tininess of our planet in the hopes of engendering feelings of planetary brotherhood and so on. So I was going around hawking it on the Voyager project in like 1984. Annie tells me, his wife tells me, he had started 2 years earlier, Andrean. We both got like dull stares, like, you want to do what? You want to take a picture of the Earth? It's only going to be a pixel. What are you, crazy? Get out of here. That kind of a response. And finally, as the mission, we're really getting near the end.
They slapped you?
No.
Okay.
That's just my audio-visual effect.
Okay.
So finally, Carl, now when I say they didn't want to do it, the Voyager project didn't want to do it, the big guys, the ones who made the decisions, Carl went to NASA. He went all the way to the NASA administrator and convinced him.
The head of NASA.
The head of NASA. And so the people at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory were directed to take this picture, and that's what we did.
Why is it so hard? Isn't there a lot of downtime? I mean, you're just flying through space. Can't you just say, just turn the camera around for a second? Why is that so hard?
I think it required doing something that we hadn't done on the Voyager project, and that was take the antenna, which was continuously in those days pointing to the Earth, and actually break communications, take it off, so we could use the antenna to shield the camera from the sun, or else you wouldn't be able to take this picture. And then take the antenna and point it back to the Earth, and they were afraid they'd never get it back there. So it wasn't until Voyager 1 was completely done with its mission, its planetary part of the mission, that they let us do this. And they managed to regain communications anyway, but we finally
this
did
became
it.
the famous pale blue dot,
Famous pale blue dot
image that became it became almost the spiritual inspiration for the book, Carl Sagan's book, The Pale Blue Dot.
It's iconic. I mean, it just really, people really love it.
So it's just Earth, just barely a pixel in the image, and it was not in a sea of stars, but it's a sea of nothingness.
But that's just because of the aperture of a lens. If you set it for the lighting of the Earth, then you're not going to see the stars, but they're there. It's not like they weren't there.
Oh, yeah, of course. There are stars there.
It was
correct, thank you.
He's trying to keep us honest.
Keep it honest. Right, your exposure matters here, and you blow out the Earth.
I don't think there were stars there.
All right, so in The Pale Blue Dot, the book, Carl Sagan waxed poetic and philosophical and with great elegance on what our place is in space and in the universe in general upon reflecting on this pale blue dot. But you were not happy with the pale blue dot, were you? You decided to take another pale blue dot.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So what did you do?
So, okay, so I had always, since the first one, had it in my, well, since I became the leader of the imaging team, I had it in my mind to do that picture over again, only make it better. And, well, because, you know, in a proposal that Carl wrote to the project, the Voyager project, to request that they take this picture, he wrote, this is not commonly known, but he wrote that the idea was to take a picture of the Earth, and I quote, awash in a sea of stars. And as Neil said, that picture we didn't capture stars, and the Earth is sitting on a beam of scattered light. And of course, none of this matters because Carl, you know, he was the master of romancing things and turning the whole thing into the allegory on the human condition. So everybody...
His prose was bigger than the image itself.
Right,
Yes.
right. It just gave him the opportunity to point out, you know, our cosmic circumstance. So I wanted to take the picture that probably Carl would have wanted. And as I was looking through the timeline of events that my colleagues were planning and I were planning for the science that we were going to collect with Cassini, and I found an opportunity that wouldn't get anybody too angry, and I'm not taking too much time, too much resources to take this mosaic with the Earth in it. It occurred to me, wow, you know, why, instead of doing what everybody seems to have done since the original pale blue dot, and take the picture of the Earth and then 2 weeks later tell everybody, hey, while you weren't looking, we took your picture, and isn't it beautiful? Here it is. I thought, why don't we tell the people of the world ahead of time that on such and such a date, at such and such a time, your picture is going to be taken, and go out as the window of opportunity opens and look up and think about your position on this planet in the never-ending blackness of space and how unique our planet is and its
You told me
lush
you got
life.
people to step outside of their house and look up at Saturn while you took their picture.
I did.
It was the original Pokemon Go.
No, it turned out to be,
You had a cute name for it. What was it called?
it's called The Day the Earth Smiled.
The Day the Earth Smiled.
Because I asked everybody to go out and smile. You know, smile in celebration of being alive on a pale blue dot. It was like the biggest cosmic performance art ever.